morning, everybody. Who was over 30 when they got their first mobile phone? Over 25? Over 20? Okay, so your kids are probably getting phones now, mobile phones, iPads, when they're probably 5, 6, 7. And this really, I think, articulates exactly what is going on in this world. So when people talk to me about digital, they mean lots of different things. But the key thing is, a lot of people think digital is a technology, and digital is not a technology. Digital is a completely new way of doing business. So you don't need a digital strategy, you need a business strategy for the digital age. This is really, really important. And what is different is that you need to actually start from the consumer and completely reconfigure your business model to be relevant. I have actually been doing a huge amount of work with Amazon recently, and you will be really interested to hear that actually what they do is before they start designing a new product or a new service, they need to write a business case for what is the value to the customer or consumer. Nothing gets approved unless Jeff Bezos approves that business case. And you present that to the board of Amazon. There's an empty chair, and the empty chair is the customer. And you talk to that. You present as to why it's of value. So yes, you all need to make money, but the whole world is shifted to where is the value for me. When you're bombarded with information, the most important thing is actually understanding how do I bring value to the consumer. And this world is really being transformed because, first of all, digital giants are completely resetting the expectations of consumers. If you go on Amazon, or if I was in China 2 weeks ago, if you think about Alibaba, the whole business model in China is driven actually from a little app called WeChat. And WeChat is like a consolidation of WhatsApp, eBay, Amazon. It's a marketplace. So everything is consolidated from a single app. It also includes Alipay. So you can do absolutely everything. You can't even pay taxis with cash. You just zap Alipay. So you need to start thinking, why is that useful for me? Why is that relevant for me? And this is the expectation of consumers. If you look at Alibaba, it's a complete revolution in China. Just on Singles Day alone, they did 25 billion in revenue. If you think about everything that Amazon, that's probably about 6 billion a year. This is 25 billion in one day. And the more interesting thing is that 1.5 billion of that was the financial services offering they have for their consumers. So again, start thinking, how do I turn a product into a service? This is the most important thing you need to think about and reset your expectations. What is the value I have that I can bring to you by starting to offering a service rather than a product? Because it's all about experience, and what's the experience I'm offering to consumers? So, and the other amazing fact is that by 2020, China will be 60% of the world's e-commerce. So that's by far the most advanced digital market. It's just an incredible revolution. So when we then start thinking about how to redesign our business, the other really important thing is data. There's just a complete avalanche of data, and trying to use data to understand consumers and then offer experiences, services, products to them that are relevant means that you really need to have this as a strategic capability in your business. Unless I understand consumers and can turn then all that information into action faster than the competition, then there is no competitive advantage. Now, I come from the consumer products industry. We make chocolates and biscuits. But in the financial services industry, in the insurance industry, you have so much data. And again, all that data is telling you a huge amount about your customers, the consumers, what they're looking for, what their preferences are. And more companies are trying to think about monetizing that data. So this is, again, start thinking service rather than product. Start thinking, how do I add value? How do I understand? So that then I can deliver something that is relevant, is personalized. Mass personalization is going to be the new thing. We're thinking about, you could be having a 3D printer in your home, actually printing the biscuits. We might be selling you a personalized recipe, depending on your preferences. So really, really start thinking, how do I create something that's compelling, relevant, differentiated, personalized? And when you look at who has been successful, they have a number of qualities in common. One is agility and adaptability in terms of offering experiences. Red Bull is a great example. If you go on the Red Bull website, there is nothing about the product. It's just a cool lifestyle. It's a cool experience about surfing, skiing, whatever. So it's about the experience. Then how do you innovate? Under Armour is a brilliant example of how they took a product and turned it into an experience. So you've got your Fitbit, you've got MyFitnessPal, you can link your whole lifestyle, your sports lifestyle, what you eat. It's a service, and that digital health platform is now connecting around 38 million consumers. So it's just creating a buying into the brand that is completely different from just selling a product. Uber are already testing driverless cars. I mean, we're already testing them in London, in Milton Keynes, and I think in 4 or 5 years' time, I can easily see London, the central part, just having driverless cars. It just kind of makes sense, but it just shows you that they're thinking well ahead, and they're investing in what's the new business model, what's the new technology. And the real interesting thing is Alexa, and there was a big piece of news in the newspapers in London yesterday. Alexa really is the Trojan horse in your house. She's gathering information about you. Everything you're ordering, and she's ordering for you. She's also registering. She knows everything about you. She's got a completely personalized profile. And already 55% of households in the US and probably about 34% in the UK are using Alexa. So this is really, it's all about the data. It's all about detailed understanding, personalized understanding, and then how do you turn that into a service, an engagement, an experience that really is relevant to me personally. And you need to do this because otherwise you will be irrelevant. Blockbuster wasn't that stupid, but they completely missed the opportunity, and suddenly a completely new business model comes along and you're out. Kodak had actually looked at digital printing and digital images, and that they never turned it into anything, and they don't exist anymore. So you need to disrupt yourself, and this is something we are doing. We're actually creating smaller teams that are all about disruption and about challenging the board, and just coming up with ideas, because the standard structures we're used to having in our organizations actually don't facilitate innovation. They actually have people on a treadmill doing the same thing. So how do you create small, agile teams? Amazon talk about you should have a maximum of a 2-pizza team. A 1 pizza is like 4 people. 2 pizza teams, 8 people, maximum 10. Anything bigger than that, of different skills, anything bigger than that actually is dysfunctional, becomes a machine. So my team is actually 1 pizza team. I'm driving the whole digital transformation in the business, and then I'm leveraging people across the business. But I've got about 4 people. So that kind of, it's about thinking differently. And the real issue, I think, is that companies are so set on race about their own business model that they're trying to transform the core, and it's all about cost reduction. But actually, cost efficiencies are only one dimension. If you are going to transform yourself to be relevant in the digital age, you really need to scale the new. So the whole idea of the 1 pizza, 2 pizza teams are about creating the new ideas and about taking them out of the normal supply chain of the business to go and create something new. And when that then makes sense, you can then start scaling it and put it back in the machine. But if you don't take small teams away and let them be innovative, it's very hard to actually do that in the normal day-to-day business. And that's really what we're doing. We're just creating, for example, we just created a new protein bar, and our supply chain says it will be 14 to 18 months to actually take that to market. Instead, we just took that away, found some firm in the Netherlands who can create a protein bar in 2 months, and is now selling on Amazon in the co-op. And now we're going to put it back in our supply chain. So you just have to completely think differently. How do I do this? And the real challenge to you is, if I were a startup, we start every board meeting, if I were a startup, how would I think about this? And this is really key. So the real way to be successful is to find a way to have more than one business model coexisting. What we're sort of getting used to the idea of going to have a series of business models that will be running at the same time. One is the normal scale business we have today. We still make digestives, make Godiva chocolate, but then we have these whole new ideas and a new business model of small, 1 pizza, 2 pizza teams creating ideas. And when those make sense, then you take those and you put them back in the scale business. So get used to that. You need to grow the core, yes, grow today's business, but you have to also transform it, and you need to get the new ideas and then scale them. And then we talk about this wise pivot. How do we balance all these things in a business so that it is profitable and it makes sense? So, and I know I'm nearly out of my time. So how do you become a digital business? One is about adapting your business model to be much more customer and consumer-centric and brand-centric. How do you use data as a strategic asset to create actionable insight and be relevant? And then it's about a holistic experience. It's not about product. So you have to really, really change your mindset here. So if you don't disrupt yourself, somebody else will, and then you won't be relevant. Thank you.